It's Talk with Lawton Swan.
Just call me Swanee.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
It is hour number 2. That's drive time right here on the show that shakes the Southland Clemson Sports Talk. Back at it, hour 2. First time we've tried this. And you know what? It looks like everybody's coming back in. So awesome. Thank you, man. That's going to be great to have a couple of opportunities for more people to be a part of the program by rebroadcasting some segments of the show over on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. 803-450-0086. 803-450-0086. Again, thank you to Roddy Jones for joining us in hour number 1, which I recognize now in doing the show this way. You can also get a chance to hear some of that here in hour number 2, which makes the program hashtag even better. So I am excited about that. We talked a little bit about Southern Cal and the job situation out there. Obviously, Roddy Jones talking about this Clemson Tiger team. And, you know, he said, look, I think this, I think that, you know, when you think about Clemson, it comes down to what's their identity going to be. And so that to me is the thing that I think we've got to learn, perhaps against Georgia Tech, more so than you could against SC State. And that's the thing, like, I can look. We can talk about the opener against Georgia and how good Georgia's defense is, and again, many of you will say, "Man, but we've seen this Clemson Tiger offense do so much more in the past." And yes, great. You can throw all of that into this ball of wax, including the fact that it was DJ Uiagalelei's first, game as the guy, and he had to be the guy against Boston College. He had to be the guy against Notre Dame a year ago, but I mean, this is basically his team in a lot of respects. And there is no Travis Etienne at this point. And so all of that into that Georgia game, huge opener, maybe one of the top defenses in the country, maybe the top defense in the country. And Clemson was not great. They weren't efficient. Offensive line was bad. But as Tony Elliott and Dabo Swinney have said, look, there's more to what happened in that game. Some of those sacks were on wideouts. Some of those sacks were on DJ. And some of those sacks were on the offensive line. So you have to take the experts, X has been, spurt, drip under pressure, of which those guys are not. You have to take the experts' opinions on this in Swinney and Elliott and just say, okay, well, chalk it up for tough opener. Made some mistakes. You even had Elliott with a bad with a missed play call, calling their own play. In a game with a tight margin, you throw a pick six and you lose. That's how that goes. Then flip into the SC State game. Sure, you got to rebound. Yes, Dabo Swinney's talked about how this team was focused and preparation and ready to play. All the good things you want to hear. All the good things you want to hear. Except for one thing. Except for one small detail. You can have all that great prep, all that great focus, but then when it comes to game day, when it comes to game time, you're still playing SC State. And there's twofold issues here. Number one, it's tough to gauge how good you are against them because you're just supremely talented. Number two, is your team fully engaged in that game as much as they should be? You can have a great week of prep. You can dial these guys in. You can talk about this is the most important game on the schedule. But when foot meets ball in Death Valley last Saturday, the other team on the other sideline is a lot smaller than you, a lot less talented than you, and you know it. And yeah, I think Clemson played a pretty good game. They were not as sharp as you need to be. They were not as efficient as you need to be. There were some plays, the interceptions. I mean, DJ's taking account for his interception, a bad one, and just throwing the ball too hard. That's something people have said to me for a while. You know, in the offseason, people texting the show, Swanee throws the ball too hard. I mean, on and on and on. 803-450-0086. 803-450-0086. Got a couple of text messages coming in. We'll get to those here momentarily. Just kind of thinking about the whole situation with Southern Cal, which we talked about. Would love to get your thoughts on that as well. Just a lot of fun having something like that to talk about, though, to be honest with you, this early in the season. The fact that you've got this huge job open that so many people are going to be interested in, I think. Big Mark chimes in the program. He says, Swanee, here's my top 10. Georgia, Alabama, Oregon 3, Clemson 4, Oklahoma 5, Iowa 6, Iowa State 7, A&M 8, Cincinnati 9, Penn State 10. Listen, I see some logic and reasoning in this. I mean, Oklahoma struggled in their season opener. And then, yes, beat the brakes off of what? Was it Mercer in week 2? So like 76-0. This weekend, Oklahoma will take on Nebraska. Sorry, 76-0 over Western Carolina. It was Alabama that played Mercer this past weekend. But if you look at that Tulane game, 40-35 to open the season, you can kind of view it the way I viewed Ohio State and Minnesota. And I thought Ohio State coming out of that game, I thought they were vulnerable going into that game. I definitely thought they were vulnerable coming out of that game. And then after watching them perform against Oregon, obviously they're vulnerable in a couple of other games down the line, in my opinion. The difference for me is that Clemson against Georgia, who Big Mark has in the top at number 1, I mean, it's a one-play game. It is literally a one-play game. And that was my thing 2 weeks ago. You could not, and people did, and I don't know how they get away with it, but you go, man, this Georgia team, boy, they really dominated Clemson. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Like, if you want to say Georgia's defense outplayed Clemson's defense in that game, agreed. If you want to say Georgia's offense played better than Clemson's offense in that game, also agreed. But you cannot tell me that Georgia was this great team and then Clemson was some like chopped liver lucky to be in the ball game. That's just not what happened. So I was kind of surprised. I'll be honest. I was kind of surprised this week that Oregon jumped past Clemson. I was surprised that Iowa jumped past Clemson. And really, I was probably as surprised. And even though Texas A&M was not convincing in their win against Colorado, I could at least understand that their starting quarterback got hurt. I could make sense of that. And why that game might have been closer than the experts would have thought. But yeah, I'm kind of with you on that, Big Mark. I think I do believe that Clemson has every right to be in the top 4 as Oklahoma at this point. I know they're undefeated. I get it. 803-450-0086. 803-450-0086. Text line, phone line, be a part of the program. Again, thank you for hanging out and always sending us messages. Adam chimes in. He says, Swanee, I've always wondered what it would be like in college football just to get rid of the conferences and let the 132 teams play who they want to play or schedule who they want to schedule. Adam, that's similar to a comment somebody made on the show yesterday, and I'm assuming that's where you heard that. And the thing that, I don't know that the big number has to be the final number. Like I think that you can go to 68 or whatever it needs to be. I don't know if we're going to draw straws to eliminate whoever's not in, but maybe even have some kind of. I've always thought like the relegation might be a thought process behind it, and what that would essentially do, and look, I know it'd be hard because Vanderbilt and other programs aren't going to want to give up the money that you get by being in the SEC and to lose that spot to some other team that comes in. And, maybe you have like a battle at the end of the year. Let me think how this could work. So if you take the top teams from the under division, let's say the top 8 teams from the under division. So I'm saying we cut this thing off at 64 teams. I know that means we're going to lose some people. We cut it off at 64 teams. Maybe the top 8 teams in that next tier down, that group of 5 or whatever's remaining, maybe those top 8 battle at the end of the year, maybe the bowl games. Oh, well, what do you know? Old Swanee's coming up with a good one here, folks. So maybe those bottom 8 teams from the what would be the Power 64, we'll call it. Ooh, that sounds nice. Nintendo's probably got that patent, but we'll call it the Power 64. So the Power 64, these are the major college football programs in our country. The bottom 8, whoever's the worst 8, they play in a bowl game. Against the best 8 from the lower 64. Wouldn't that? Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. Just had to, I said it in my brain, but they had to look at it on paper because power and lower are spelled the same. It's just a P and an L. That's the difference. Man, can you imagine what the logo could look like? It could look so similar. So the Power 64, bottom 8, and the lower 64, top 8, play at the end of every season. There are 4 bowl games. The fatal 4-way. And the eliminated team, the loser of that match or game. Where's Howard Finkel when I need him? And new world heavyweight champion. So the winner of that game, the following season is in the Power 64. And the losers of those 4 bowl games are now in the lower 64. I'm never changing my mind on this at all. This is a beautiful concept that nobody can take away from me. And what that would grant is, let's say that you were, just hear me out here. Let's say that you were, for the sake of this argument, South Florida and Jeff Scott. Not a great program right now. But if you split it up and you end up being the top program, one of the top 8 programs in the lower tier, You don't even they at that point don't even need their own playoff system. Like I've argued for years that they needed their own playoff system. No, you don't now. Your reward is the opportunity to swipe a spot in the Power 64. So you go to your bowl game, you play against Vanderbilt. Boom, you beat Vanderbilt, you're in the Power 64 the next season. Now, in year one in the Power 64, just don't be in the bottom 8. And if you're not in the bottom 8, then the following year, man, you're still locked in, and we're swapping it. Oh, dude. I need to just be quiet right now because I need to call my lawyer. I need to patent this model. I need to make sure that this is secured under the proper documentation with the government. And I am thankful that I have not shared this incredible thought with anyone. Oh, hi. You guys are still here, huh? You heard all that about the Power 64 and the lower 64? Scratch that. It's a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea. Yeah, don't buy into that. Actually, it's the most brilliant idea I've ever had on this show. I really think that builds a compelling reason, a compelling, target. Like I've always thought that the smaller group of 5 teams needed to have their own league to get this Magic National Championship that they could put in their venues and go, look at the championship we got. Dude, what if you could escape? What if you could escape the lower 60 whatever 4? We got to find 64 teams. Can we do that? 128, right? You guys say there's 132. Sure. Let's do it. And you essentially escape. And maybe you never go back. Maybe you stay in the land of where you can win championships or at least be mediocre. But you're not in the lower 64 anymore. And what if you have a season like South Carolina had back when Lou Holtz was there and they went, 0-11? And you were deemed one of the worst teams, one of the bottom 8, and you got beat. And then imagine like some power teams. Like what if Alabama had to be stuck in the lower 64 for like 4 years? What? I mean, I don't know if coaches and players and everybody would go for it, but dude, for fans, I think I have just created the only model better than anything that Mark Packers ever put together. I will put this idea up against Packers playoff idea any day, all day, and all of a sudden, the worst teams in college football are getting into a bowl game, generating a little extra revenue for their program, hoping to hold on to a spot. It's like you got your fingers on the edge of the cliff. And you're holding on and can they do it? Can Vandy stay alive? Like, I want to watch that. I want to watch Vanderbilt facing off with Tulane for the right to play in the SEC. Let's go. You think Tulane wouldn't want a spot in the SEC? Put the title on the line, Vanderbilt. Just sign the dotted line. Meet you in a cage match. I'm for this. Let me know. Are you for this? Have I gone crazy? 803-450-0086. If you are watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, am I crazy? If you're catching the replay on YouTube, comment right now. Is this the Power 64 and the lower 64? Copyright, first in use, sign me up. I'll take it. Man, you know what's crazy? I don't even know how we got there. Oh, it was Adam. Blame everybody. Blame Adam. Adam sent the text. Adam, you did this. You did this. We'll hit a quick break. We'll bounce back with more of the Genius program, apparently.
Now, Columbia's most dependable traffic, sponsored by Pope Davis Tire and Automotive, home of the best tire prices in Columbia, guaranteed.
Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
Still dealing with an earlier wreck, I-26 eastbound near the Chapin exit. Other types, Platte Springs at Cannon Trail and Zimmelcrest at Center Point. The 103.5 FM WVOC traffic tip line, it's always open, 343-1055.
This report is sponsored by the Ad Council. Attention thrifters. Those awesome finds you get at Goodwill are even awesomer than you realize. Because as a nonprofit, Goodwill uses your purchases to fund job training and more in our neighborhoods. Learn more at goodwill.org. Sponsored by the Ad Council.
Radio advertising can connect your business with holiday shoppers wherever they go. Use iHeart Ad Builder to create an affordable custom radio ad right on your phone. Just click, listen, approve, then hear it on the radio. Create your customized ad today at iHeartAdBuilder.com.
Breathe easier in your home with Zero Res Air Duct Cleaning. It's the only company I trust to get my home insanely clean. Right now, when you mention this station, you can get $30 off your next air duct cleaning, plus 15% off filters and purifiers. Schedule online at ZeroResColumbia.com.
The COVID-19 pandemic continues to bring tremendous stress to HBCU students and many social, financial, educational, and mental health challenges to communities of color. The UNCF National Virtual Walk for Education raises funds to support historically Black colleges and universities, HBCUs, and the students they serve. Join us on September 18th for